Good evening, everyone. Tonight we'll fill you in on all the latest local headlines in Western Massachusetts and some of the week's most groundbreaking world news.
In this week's headlines, the husband of a missing woman is found dead in his apartment. Students in the community rally for recently fired UMass Boston chancellor, and President Trump orders an airstrike on Syria.
I'm Izzy Salant.
And I'm Michael Shea. This is UMass News Now.
The famed linguist, philosopher, author, and political activist Noam Chomsky will be at the Mullen Center on Thursday, April 13th at 7:30 p.m., where he will give a lecture titled Prospects for Survival. Chomsky has written hundreds of material, including books and essays on topics ranging from everything from linguistics to war. This event is being sponsored by the Political Economy Research Institute as part of the celebration for Carnegie Hall, the new economics building. The event is free and open to the public, with tickets being on a first-come, first-served basis.
Elizabeth Warren was recently announced as the keynote commencement speaker at the University of Massachusetts Amherst last Monday. In the release, Chancellor Kumbal Subbaswamy said, quote, "We are inspired by her staunch advocacy for equitable access to education, environmental resource conservation, and support for economic justice," end quote. While some students are content with the decision, others have expressed their disapproval. Jordan Cornfield, a senior, says, quote, "I was just hoping it would be someone a little more personable, like someone that would be funny and that people would kind of relate to," end quote. The commencement ceremony will take place at 4:30 p.m. at McGuirk Alumni Stadium on May 12th.
On Saturday, April 8th, UMass students, staff, faculty, and community members took part in the 8th Annual Dash and Dine, a 5K sponsored by UMass Dining to fundraise for the Amherst Survival Center. According to the event page, the Survival Center provides, quote, "a welcoming community where families and individuals who are struggling to make ends meet can come for food, clothing, health care, and for companionship and relief from isolation. No one is turned away," end quote. In the past, the Dash and Dine has raised over $32,000 for the center, with the goal this year to raise $8,000 more. There was also a fun run at 10 a.m. for kids 8 years of age and younger.
In local news, a fatal car crash occurred in South Deerfield this past Thursday at 5:44 p.m. Officials have identified the body as 19-year-old Sarah Bresnahan of Easton. The sole occupant of a blue Toyota SUV, Bresnahan's car crashed into a large tree on 50 Sugarloaf Street. Bresnahan was a freshman year student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst with a major in accounting, according to university spokesman Ed Blaguzewski. He commented, quote, "The university mourns her loss, and we extend our heartfelt sympathies to her family and friends," end quote. A press release from Mary Carey, spokeswoman for the Northwestern District Attorney's Office, states the cause of the crash remains under investigation by the Deerfield Police Department and Massachusetts State Police detectives assigned to the Northwestern District Attorney's Office.
Despite the Amherst Charter Commission's vote to pursue a new town model, there is still disagreement amongst community and commission members on what the model should be. The Charter Commission held two votes, one vote to change the representative model to a 13-member town council, and another vote to change the executive body from a board of 5 to 1 mayor, voted on in December and February respectively. Both passed, with the vote to establish a council being a 5-4 victory, and the vote to have the executive be a mayor being a 6-3 victory. Though both recommendations passed, some members are not on board with these ideas. In March of 2018, the town of Amherst will vote on the matter to officially establish what the new government model will be.
On Thursday evening, Northampton police issued a drone above Look Park to spot 2 missing deer. A tree at the park fell and left an escape route open in one of the enclosures that hold 2 deer. On Friday morning, when park staff realized that the deer were gone, they enlisted the help of the city police. As of Friday evening, the drone failed to spot any of the missing deer. Moody addressed potential concerns from the public and states, quote, "Our mission with this is a search and rescue and crime scene documentation. We're not going to be used to spy on people or in any intrusive manner," end quote. In the meantime, the Look Park staff are still on the lookout for the missing deer.
Charles Chad Rady, the husband of missing Clarksburg woman Joanne Jo Ringer, was found dead in his garage on April 7th after what police ruled to be an apparent suicide. Reedy was discovered after a family member asked the police to conduct a well-being check, according to the Daily Hampshire Gazette. Reedy had been dealing with the disappearance of his wife, who went missing March 2nd before she was to start her new shift at her new job. Her car was found abandoned on March 6th. Reedy has been interviewed on the subject, going as far as to say as he was the last one to see Jo alive. He is survived by his daughter, Savannah.
Last Saturday in Boston, students, alumni, and community leaders rallied at the State House demanding that officials reject the resignation of University of Massachusetts Boston Chancellor J. Keith Motley. Speakers at the rally, including City Councilors Tito Jackson and Ayanna Presley, as well as State Representative Russell Holmes and former Representative Diane Wilkerson, said that Motley was being unfairly blamed for the financial woes that are affecting UMass Boston. Motley, who had served as chancellor since 2007, has been regarded as an important leader in the black community. Speakers have said that Motley's resignation was emblematic of systemic racism within the university system. Boston NAACP President Tanisha Sullivan said at the rally, quote, "This is starting to feel like a systemic attack against black leadership, and we need to take a stand," end quote.
While the odds that someone will be injured by an MRI are slim, the dangers they pose are still very real. Paul Doherty and the staff taking care of him at Brigham and Women's Hospital witnessed this firsthand when he went in for a regular MRI scan. According to the Boston Globe, after the procedure, a technician wheeled Doherty, who was on a gurney, back into the MRI room accidentally, where the bed was dragged back towards the machine. After 3 staff members couldn't fight the magnetic pull, they helped Doherty off the gurney and heard a, quote, crunching metallic noise, something like a car crash, end quote. No one was harmed in the incident.
In Hartford, Connecticut, leaders of the state's 2 federally recognized tribes, the Mashantucket Pequot and the Mohicans, met Thursday with legislative leaders trying to assure them that authorizing the state's first casino on non-tribal land will not risk the hundreds of millions of dollars as the tribes are now pay the state. Under the current agreement, Connecticut receives 25% of the slot machine revenues generated at the Mohegan Sun and Foxwoods Resort Casino, which was $268 million in 2015. The tribes are also promising Connecticut 25% of the revenue from the slots and the table games at the new Satellite Casino, which is in competition with the $950 million casino being built by MGM Grand in Springfield. Attorney General George Jepsen wrote that the risks associated with authorizing Connecticut's first casino on non-reservation land, quote, are not insubstantial, unquote, and there was no guarantee those risks could be reduced.
Nugget the hamster was the star of UMass Junior Studio Arts major Eric Watterson's film video project, one of many student art pieces exhibited in the Humanities and Fine Art Department's annual student showcase on Tuesday. The video Watterson took of Nugget showcased the small rodent trying to escape Watterson's apartment and his cage, an experience that Watterson empathizes with. Quote, "He just wants to escape. Sometimes I relate to that," end quote. Watterson's work, showcased on April 11th in the Campus Center Auditorium, was one of 41 submitted art pieces submitted to the HFA Student Leadership Board. Pieces ranged from video projects, like Watterson's, to color pencil drawings, photographs, poetry, and paintings. Quote, "There were no criteria for what you could submit," end quote, said Charlotte Seaman, a sophomore art history major who headed the HFA Student Leadership Board's Showcase Committee. "There was definitely no theme," she added.
Expecting to spend a quiet night at home? Instead, many young adults find the sound of music to be a better alternative. Juhi Davsarath brings us into the home of Alex Hiller to talk about the therapeutic benefits of playing music.
Surrounded by nature, listening to the songs of birds is what some relate with de-stressing. For Alex Hiller, he distresses with music. The recent college graduate works for the city of Springfield.
A lot of data entry, map making, some of it just becomes monotonous.
Hiller breaks up the work scene by picking a new environment.
Like nature to look around at, whereas when I'm upstairs all I have is a small window.
After a stressful day at work, his compass points him straight to his amps and guitars.
You can create a lot of energy, and you can convey a lot of energy and release a lot of energy through your music.
Despite not being able to play an instrument, one college student agreed, saying music helps wash the stress of housework away.
That can make you finish it faster and be even more productive.
If you can just pick up a 6-string instrument and all your problems go away, then really you have problems to begin with.
In national news, a woman was rejected from her Airbnb, allegedly due to her Asian race. Dine Se, a 25-year-old law student from Riverside, California, ordered a cabin from an Airbnb host. It was only minutes from her destination that she texted the owner regarding their proximity as well as an increase in passengers. As she gave her disapproval, Sue tried to reason with the owner and say that she accepted the increase in passengers earlier on. As the owner disregarded her statement, she replied, quote, "One word says it all, Asian," end quote. Sue's problems continued as there had been a raging snowstorm that same evening. Airbnb spokesman issued an official apology on her behalf. He said, quote, "We have worked to provide the guests with our full support in line with our non-discrimination policy. This host has been permanently removed from the Airbnb platform," end quote. Airbnb has given Sue a full refund in addition to their sincere condolences.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions may want to bring back the war on drugs. Sessions has been working closely with Stephen Cook, a federal prosecutor who was against the Obama administration's view on criminal justice system and was opposed to the changes it made in regards to nonviolent drug offenders. Since Sessions has been appointed, he has spread a message of being harsh on crime, as he had traveled spreading the message with Cook, and he has been with him. According to the Washington Post, no specific policy changes have been announced yet, but some are fearful that Sessions may try to reinstate harsh drug charges.
In Dallas, the city's warning system was hacked late on Friday night, disrupting the city when all of its 156 sirens went off on Saturday morning. The alarms began at 11:40 p.m. on Friday and sounded until 1:20 a.m. Saturday. Officials declined to give details about the nature of the breach, citing security reasons, but they do believe that it originated locally. Mayor Mike Rawlings called the breach an attack on our emergency notification system, and it said it was, quote, "evidence of a need to upgrade and safeguard the city's technology infrastructure," end quote. Security officials have warned for years about the risks that hacking attacks can pose to infrastructure. The number of attacks on critical infrastructure has risen to nearly 300 in 2015 from just under 200 in 2012, according to federal data.
In world news, President Donald Trump's recent airstrike on Syria has hit home as well. In response to Trump's recent attack, Boston area members held a protest on the Common on Friday, April 7th. The protest was known as the, quote, "No War on Syria," end quote, protest, and was organized by several Boston area peace activist groups, according to the Boston Globe. Trump's recent attack on Syria was in retaliation to a recent chemical weapons attack by Syria on its own people, resulting in 87 deaths, including 13 children, and hundreds more injured. The attack was received with controversy because the president launched the attack without congressional approval. This move was also controversial because there has been a split amongst world powers about taking military action in Syria. Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren took to Twitter to denounce the attacks, calling them, quote, "erratic." According to CNN, President Trump spoke after the attack, saying he did so because it is vital to national security in the time of the United States to prevent and deter the spread and use of deadly chemical weapons. Well, that's all we have for tonight, folks. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest and local headlines. I'm Izzy Salant.
And I'm Michael Shea. Thank you for watching UMass News Now. Have a great night.